This might be one of the craziest stories in sport. Yeah, I've said it, but I genuinely think it is. On October 12th, 2025, Valentin Vachereau won the Shanghai Masters ATP 1000. Now, you might not think that that is anything special, but the story of how he got there, even the final, is all just crazy. And this is nothing to do in the way in which he did it. It's actually more to do with the mindset that it took to get there. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about the psychological advantage that he had and how you can use it too to not only win, but do it when everyone else doesn't believe that you can. All right, on to this crazy story. So Valentin Vachereau was ranked at the start of this tournament number 204 in the world. And he turned up as an alternate and he only got into qualifying when 9 people withdrew. Yes, 9. And he had to go through an insane run of players. Let's see who he actually went through. He had to go through Alexander Bublik, Thomas Mahatch, Talon Griekspoor, Olga Runa, and then when he got to the semi-final, he was met with the GOAT Novak Djokovic. And he beat all of them and then found his way into the final where he was meeting Arthur Rinderknecht, who is his cousin. And that final was crazy. It was brutal. Both players broken with exhaustion by the end. And when Valentin Vachereau won, they both broke down in tears and showing love to each other in their acceptance speeches. This was more like a scene in a movie. I was reminded of the film Warriors, one of my favorite films with Tom Hardy. It's just a film where two brothers in MMA end up making it all the way to the end of this tournament and fight each other. And this seems exactly like that, where two relatives are playing it out. And it's not uncommon for us to see relatives playing each other in sport, but there's something about this story and the way in which he did it. And the mindset that he used is this underdog mindset. And I think that's ultimately why we love stories like this so much, because it hits something so human. When we see someone rise from nowhere, someone that was not really meant to win, it just resonates with us because we think of all of the possibilities. And it instills this sense of self-belief, which psychology calls vicarious experience, where you feel a sense of self-belief when you see someone similar to you, maybe from a different background, maybe similar skill set, and you feel this sense of relation to them because you think, well, if they can do it, then maybe I can too. And this is something that even I used to turn pro in sport. I saw myself as an underdog all the way through my career. When I was born, I was told that I wouldn't even be able to play sport due to my condition. And so I constantly saw myself as an underdog. So I looked at other athletes who I thought were underdogs and had either disadvantages, maybe conditions, impairments that would hold them back. And I thought, well, if they can, why can't I? And this underdog mindset is one of the ways that I threw in my 30 days and 30 ways to build a mind like a pro athlete. If you want to get it, just send me your email and I'll send it straight to you. All you got to do is click the link in the description of this video. So how do we actually build an underdog mindset? I think there's a few things that go with it, but the first one being you find a way. Someone who's an underdog is tenacious. They just seem to find a way through. When everyone else is falling apart, when everything just doesn't seem right, an underdog will look for the way they can. You'll get players that turn up and the conditions aren't right, or maybe the opponent's playing a different way and they just think, it's not my day. But an underdog doesn't do that. They find a way to adapt and turn disadvantages into advantages. And a big part of creating this adaptability is moving from being a problem finder to a problem solver. And you can do this in training. Range of different ways of setting up drills where you put in challenges, restrictions, and you ultimately have to problem solve your way through it. I've done this before in professional cricket where we used to block off certain sections of the field and the players would have to figure out a way into using their skill sets to get the outcomes where they would win or start to get the result they want. And the more you do this, the more you become attuned to it, especially when competitions throw up something that you've never seen before. And this happens a lot in sport. And this is where you can start to take a breath, ask yourself, what can I control right now? And rather than looking for all the problems and a way out, you actually start to work your way through them. And the more you do this, it becomes automatic and you just become better at it. Number 2 is to bet on yourself. Underdogs believe in themselves when no one else does. And the secret to this confidence isn't built on reputation because you haven't built one yet. You have to build it on preparation. Trouble is, most athletes start comparing themselves with stronger opponents, better teammates, higher ranked players. And suddenly your confidence collapses before you've even started. But as an underdog, you trust in your work. You focus on what your strengths are and what you do well. And so a simple and practical way to do this around trainings, competitions, is to just think about what can you use. This is about setting out a bit of a USP that you would use in business as to what can I be better than everyone else at. And the answer ends up being pretty simple. It's things like your work rate, your discipline, your attitude. All of those are totally in your control and you can 100% do those better than everyone else. And if that fails, then you can just try using mantras where you tell yourself, I belong here, I'm built for this. Pick a mantra that makes you believe that you can achieve against the odds. And maybe one extra is to visualize. Visualize yourself doing this thing that you want to achieve, beating opponents that are better than you, overcoming, winning a tournament. Tell yourself yourself and see yourself doing that story of being an underdog and achieving. This was something that I used and it really, really helped. And I've even thrown it into our Mind Strong Sport app, something that you can get and get started with. I'll put the link in the description for that as well. Number 3 is to lose the fear. Pressure ruins performance, but all of that pressure comes from expectations of not only yourself, but others, your coaches, teammates, parents, maybe even social media. And once you start to feel that pressure, you start to play tight. But underdogs, they play freely. They remove that pressure because they don't have that expectation. Underdogs don't carry the weight of they should. They're not out there to prove anything to anyone. And that freedom unlocks instinct. It makes them play braver, maybe faster, even more creative. And so the thing to focus on here is lowering your expectations and not actually just lowering them, but shifting them. Most athletes put their expectation on the outcome, whereas you want to move towards your process. Instead of thinking about winning and achieving that you should be doing that, the things you should be doing are focusing on executing the processes that will get you the outcomes you hopefully want. As crazy as it is, the more you focus on that process, the outcomes take care of themselves. So these could be things like hit through the ball, stay aggressive, talk loud on defense, whatever those cues might be for you to get the job done. When you start to focus on being present and what it is that you have to do in the moment, you take away all of the expectation and the pressure of outcome. And if this sounds like someone like you, where you're setting expectations, maybe you're struggling under pressure, you can't focus, then that's what I designed the app for, and you can get started with that by clicking the link in the description here. I'll just put the link down below in this video where you can get started. It is designed for athletes like you if you want to improve your mental game. All right, number 4 is do it ugly, and I love this one. The majority of athletes I work with, and we have to end up changing, is moving them away from this idea that if the day isn't perfect, then it's pointless. They maybe miss a session, lose a game, something doesn't work out, they make a mistake, and then they spiral into this self-doubt. But an underdog knows that perfection isn't the point, progress is, and that you want to try and make the best of the situation you've got. And that might mean doing it ugly. Sometimes you turn up and maybe you haven't slept right, or maybe you just haven't eaten something that sits well in your stomach. Whatever it might be, when you turn up, it's what you can do with what you have on the day. And this isn't just in competition or tournaments, this is just everyday training. Not every training session you have has to be perfect. Even more so, like I said with the adaptability, if you can start to do things ugly, you'll start to adapt, find new ways, find your way to overcome certain obstacles, so that when undoubtedly sport is going to throw something at you that you're not sure is going to come and it surprises you, you've actually trained yourself to deal with that sort of thing. There were hundreds of days where I turned up to training sore, my feet hurt, my back hurt, nothing felt right, and thought I could easily just take today easy. But there were days where competitions where I had to wake up and play even with all of those feelings. But because I've done it in training, you feel like you can do it in competition. You feel, I'm going to find a way to win here. And this is where your mindset as an underdog can be a competitive advantage, because you can take everything that is against you and turn it for you. You end up being someone who is ready to take your opportunity. Just like Valentin Vachereau, when he made it into qualifying, he was given that opportunity. He took every single moment as an opportunity and he made the most of it. And he's ultimately changed his life from it. And this is why this story really resonates, because it's not just a story about determination, opportunity, discipline. It's a story of hope. There will be hundreds of players out there, whether you play tennis or not, that can look at this story and be hopeful that you are not actually as far away as you think you are. If you maybe start to implement some of these things that I've mentioned in this video, maybe just one of them, and let us know in the comments which one it might be, then you might start to find that you can actually achieve the things that you want. Because 99% of athletes get in their own way. And if you can have an underdog mindset, that is someone who overcomes most of the hurdles that everyone puts in front of themselves. I personally love working with underdogs. I love people that have this sort of mindset. I was one. I know that it worked for me, and it definitely can for you. And if you love this video, then I made another one on how you stay consistent when you've built a mindset like this. Bunch of habits that will keep you consistent, growing, improving, even when your motivation fades. You can watch that right here.